Romanticizing is an exaggeration, and this skews perception of reality. Hello, it's December 2021, and in this video I'm going to be talking about exaggeration. In today's world, everything is exaggerated, or there's a need for things to be exaggerated, or there's an assumption that something's exaggerated. And exaggeration also impacts how people, for example, may interpret something. Now, I'm going to use the example of sometimes somebody, not everyone, sometimes some people, will go to the doctors and need some sort of medical attention. Now, if they're in the emergency room, for example, they will have to exaggerate their symptoms or whatever it is that they're experiencing in order to be seen or seen quickly. Now, I'm not saying that sometimes there might not be something serious going on, but the point is an exaggeration has to be made to get the attention of someone. And we see that, for example, with current worldwide events, things being exaggerated from both camps, those who are going along with the official narrative and those who are not. Exaggeration. Exaggeration seems to make people pay more attention. And it's very unfortunate that this is the world we live in. People assume that exaggeration is what's being presented a lot of the times. But it's not always the case. And let's take, for example, my situation. When I'm dressed as you see me right now in what I would call my good clothes, people have a hard time accepting, for example, that I'm destitute and think, well, he's okay. Or in reality, I'm struggling, suffering. When I'm dressed in the clothes that I wear, say, for example, on a daily basis in the backcountry, all raggedy, well, then the things that I talk about, that I share about with first-hand knowledge, for example, whistleblowing and exposing first-hand knowledge of the sex trafficking or sexual abuse of vulnerable women and police, judicial, political corruption, etc., things of that nature. Well, their interpretation of me is exaggerated, and they say, well, this guy's not successful. Why are we listening to him? Regardless of how I'm dressed, it's still the same me. And this is where exaggeration in someone's interpretation of, say, for example, who they're looking at in the video or maybe even on the street, there's an exaggeration. Well, that person doesn't need help, where in fact they do. So this problem of exaggeration is across the board, and with current worldwide events, for example, and I'm not stating or implying that things are real or not real, I'm just using this as an example, that people's symptoms or whatever are far worse, etc. And there's people exaggerating, for example, their numbers, who are going against the official narrative, trying to create awareness and draw more people in. Exaggeration, rather than being truthful. Exaggeration we also see when people turn to authority types, say government, for some sort of assistance or whatever. There's an exaggeration being made. Now, exaggeration, when you're directing it towards someone, ties in with, for example, false accusations, because an exaggeration will build up. And just like with the telephone game, which I've talked about over the many, many years, even in the past several years, an exaggeration occurs. Not only do we see the original, for example, in the telephone game, a comment, by the time it reaches the end of the chain, it's not even remotely close to what the original topic was, but we see a progression of exaggeration throughout. And people are interpreting things, exaggerating things, because they want to, for example, highlight something. Exaggeration is also part of being emotion-based. The more emotion-based you are, the more exaggeration is likely to occur with for example, an interpretation or whatever. I just want to highlight this because, again, this ties in with current worldwide events, ties in with my situation, and even to further expand on that, the exaggeration of the individuals involved with, well, they were successful in destroying my life. The exaggerations that I kept uncovering to destroy me is insane. But because exaggeration is needed to get people's attention, because a lot of people, there's so much going on in the world, even before now, that everything just become like, people become desensitized, for example, to someone's troubles or an event. So things have to be exaggerated to get people's attention, to get their emotions looking and going, oh, what's going on here? This is a very dangerous thing, exaggeration. Rather than simply state, as boring as it may be, something is black and white, period, done. No, you have to exaggerate it and fluff it all up and everything else. And this is one of the major contributing factors to why this civilization is spiraling out of control to its demise. Again, we are in a late stage of the last stage of civilization, the age of decadence, and we repeat history because history is forgotten either by chance or design. And what always follows is our demise. Exaggeration is a contributing factor. Anyway, something to think about. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. The telling of stories may be exaggerated to make it interesting, but independent evidence keeps things in proper perspective.